All right, let's get into it. Today, we're putting on our detective hats. Our mission? To crack the code of a document that can mean the difference between a great investment and a total disaster, the IPO Prospectus. You'll see that all the clues are right there if you just know how to look. So, you hear about a hot new company going public, right? The hype is everywhere. But is it the investment of a lifetime or just a disaster waiting to happen? That is the million-dollar question. And the real answers, the actual clues, are hidden in plain sight.
And for our investigation, this is our main case file. It's a document called the DRHP. Now, it might look a little intimidating, sure, but trust me, this is where all the secrets are buried.
So what exactly is a DRHP? Think of it less like a flashy marketing brochure and more like a legal deposition. A company is legally required to disclose everything in here, the good, the bad, and yes, even the ugly. For us, this is the primary source of evidence.
And on pretty much page 1, you're going to find this huge disclaimer. This is the regulator, CB, basically shouting, hey, we haven't approved this thing. We're not saying it's good or bad. You are on your own here. That's your first major clue that you need to be a detective, not just a passive investor.
Okay, every good investigation needs a subject. Ours is a company called Highway Infrastructure Limited. We're going to treat their DRHP as our case file and see what we can uncover.
So, according to the file, what does this company actually do?
Well, it looks like they have their hands in a few different things. They collect highway tolls, they build big infrastructure projects, and they also dabble in real estate. It seems like a pretty diverse business. But what's the real story behind this IPO?
Any detective will tell you the very first rule of an investigation is simple. Follow the money. We need to figure out why this company wants our cash. What's the real motive here?
And boom, Exhibit A. The company wants to raise 1,050 million rupees, that's 105 crores, of new money. This is what's called a fresh issue. But the real question for any detective is, where is all that money actually going? And here's where it gets really interesting. Because you see, an IPO isn't always just one thing. It's often a mix. You've got the fresh issue we just talked about, but you also have something called an offer for sale. And knowing the difference between these two is one of the most critical clues in this entire document. Let me break it down. It's pretty simple. A fresh issue means the money goes to the company, for new projects, for working capital, for growth. An offer for sale, on the other hand, that money goes directly into the pockets of the existing owners who are selling their shares. One is about funding the future, the other is about cashing out. You have to know the difference.
All right, now we get to my absolute favorite part of any DRHP. This is the section where the company, by law, has to tell you every single thing that could possibly go wrong. I like to call it the official confession.
Seriously, this section, called Risk Factors, is an absolute goldmine of information. The company's lawyers are legally obligated to list out every potential danger to the business. Your job as the detective is to read through this and figure out which of these risks are small and which ones are huge, flashing red lights.
So what's our first big clue from the confession? Well, here it is. The company straight up admits that it depends really heavily on just a few big clients. So what happens if they lose one of them? The whole business could be in serious trouble. That's a major vulnerability right there.
And check this out. Here's another little nugget. To get new construction projects, they have to get bank guarantees. But they're telling you right here in black and white that they can't promise they'll always be able to get them. So no guarantees, no new business. That sounds like a potential bottleneck for growth, doesn't it?
Now this is a fascinating red flag. The company confesses that it has a history of being late on payments for their employees' retirement and health insurance funds. Now they say there are no outstanding dues now, but this history of delays could mean penalties down the road, and it definitely raises some questions about their internal financial discipline. And of course, there's the classic key person risk. The company is admitting that its success is tied up very, very closely with its founders and its top managers. If any of those key people decide to leave, the whole business could be in serious trouble. That's something you really have to think about as an investor.
So we've seen the big headline risks. But a really good detective knows that some of the best clues are buried deep in the fine print. So let's grab our magnifying glass and check a few more spots.
First up, you've got to know who the players are. What's a promoter versus a director? Well, think of a promoter as the founder or a major early-days stakeholder. A director is on the board, managing the company. Sometimes they're the same person, sometimes they're not. But it's absolutely crucial to know who holds the real power.
Next, you got to check the company's rap sheet. Yup, every DRHP has a section listing all the outstanding legal cases. And as you can see, highway infrastructure is involved in quite a few, from disputes with the government to criminal complaints. Each one of these is like a potential financial landmine.
And this is a biggie. You have to check for related party transactions. This is where the company discloses any business it's doing with its own insiders, its promoters, its directors, their other companies. In this case, for instance, there are unsecured loans given to and taken from key managers. Now, that's not necessarily illegal, but it's something you have to scrutinize very carefully. You want to make sure insiders aren't just giving themselves sweetheart deals at the company's expense. So, there you have it. Your basic detective's toolkit for cracking open any IPO prospectus. First, follow the money and see who really benefits. Second, read the confession. That's the risk factors section. And third, always check the fine print for legal issues and any insider deals.
So, the next time you see a big IPO hitting the headlines, just remember, a prospectus isn't a sales pitch. It's a map full of clues, and now that you know how to read it, the only question left is, what will you discover?